Hey guys, Chef Jojo with ECO, and on this episode, we're going to talk about being the best cook possible and how if you don't show up to work for your bus test, what happens to your kitchen, to your station, and how does this get you to move forward in your career? As usual, we're going to discuss this over a shift drink. Well, that's a little thick. It's actually pretty good, but it's not what I was expecting. A lot of vanilla. This is the Breckenridge Brewery. This is our shift drink for tonight. It's the Nitro Vanilla Porter. It's really nice. It's smooth. It's probably a little heavier than what I was looking for, but this is a heavy topic anyway. It's got a good head on it. It's definitely thick. You know, I said in the previous episode that there's two different mindsets, and the one before that, I had this whole bus test theory, and these are all like my thoughts kind of like swirling around this. And I knew that the chef mindset had to be different than the cook mindset, because in the chef mindset or the manager mindset, where you have other people that you're depending on, you have to be sure that you're there for them in a way that empowers them, gives them this environment of trust to where they can give it their all and know that they have someone behind them. And that's not the same when you're the cook. It's not the same when you're just starting out. When you're just starting out, sometimes you need that environment to really test yourself. But let's move forward a little while and you've got some experience and now you've kind of gotten comfortable at one of your stations or several of your stations. That's great. But what would happen if you didn't show up? Do you think that your chef would miss you? Do you think your restaurant manager would miss you? Your bar manager? Anybody? I mean, because the kitchen, the bar, the dining room, it's all the same. You all have to come to work prepared to do your job. But I think it's really difficult for the cook to get their head, and I'll just say cook, right? Because that's where I came from. When I started out, my goal was to show up to work and work my living ass off to be sure that I was learning everything I possibly could, because I had this long game in mind. I was going to outwork you, outstrive you, read as much as I could, all of these things, right? And it helped me in the long run, but not everybody has that mindset. And I'd say it was probably really hard to work with me. And I was really critical of my own work. And I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. Well, looking back, I can say it's not the right reasons, but in the moment, it was the only reason I had. So how do you create a bus test when you're in charge of just a saute station? Or just the grill, or just doing the banquets, and you want to be more inside the kitchen, and you want to be someone that the chef or chefs reach out to when things are getting sideways? How do you put yourself in that position? You apply the bus test, and this is where it starts. What kind of mindset do you have when you show up to work? And I was talking with Gina about this, and we were discussing this topic, and she said something it was pretty freaking awesome. She goes, what if you couldn't quit and this was your only option? That was it. Like, this is it. This is the only job you can have. And I was kind of confused at first. And then she goes, you have to change the environment and your mental attitude about this job. I was like, boom. Oh my God. Light bulb went off. What if this was the only job you could have and you had to create a path that was going to give you the success that you were looking for? How would you come to work if you knew that this was it? Would you show up dragging your ass, or would you show up ready to fight? Maybe the first couple of days you might drag your ass because you're like, oh my God, this is my only job. And then when you finally got your head around the fact that it is your world, you get to create it, and it's up to you to climb the ladder, not someone else. Not someone else's. No one else is going to do this for you but you. So if this is it, and this is where you draw the line in the sand for yourself, change your mindset. Okay, cool. So you have to create an environment and a mindset where you're indispensable to your employer. Now, that doesn't mean you work for free. That doesn't mean you work all day without taking a break. That doesn't mean that you're a martyr. Do I need to repeat that? You're not a martyr. It doesn't mean that you are going to be like, oh, I'm going to come in for the first 3 hours for free just so you like me. That's not fair to you, and it pisses me off when businesses expect that. What's fair to you is paying you what you're worth. Create the environment where your employer freaks out when you're like, I gotta go, I've got another opportunity because they're going to pay me more. And they're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? How do you do that? And it doesn't take an enormous amount of talent, because I'm gonna tell you, talent has to show up to win. And talent has to work really hard to stay on top. But if you show up on time and you work your ass off and you really stay focused on your job and you try to learn and you have a non-defeatist attitude where you, like, when you do make a mistake, you learn from it and you're asking questions how to get better or why did you choose to do that, and you look out for others next to you and you make it more about the team and less about what you did on your station. Nothing frustrates me more than watching a very, very skilled cook work his station and then watch others fail that aren't as good as them, and then they relish it or allow it to happen. That's not a team player. That's not being indispensable. That's kind of a douche move. Like, I've seen it happen over the past 20 years where you hire a really phenomenal person and they're really good at that station or whatever you put them in, they can do. And they'll stand there and watch somebody flail next to them and not even try to help them. Okay, then for me, what that tells me, I can replace you with anybody that can work the station I put you on. You're not really that important to the team. You only do it for yourself. And that's the fastest way to get replaced. It's not about the tickets. It's not about that station. And if you're working for someone that will leave you on one station for 30 years, I would hope that eventually you get out. I would hope eventually that you look for something bigger and better, so you're not one of these people that hit me up on Facebook talking about it was the worst decision they ever made. For 20 years, no one cared about them. Well, you know what? You're in charge of your own destiny. Punch out, find another job. But if you want to be the victim, go be the victim. Just not on my clock. This non-defeatist attitude, this bus test for a cook, starts with you when you're at the bus test, because the bus is always running. You know, they're always on schedule. You just got to figure out when you're going to get on it and you're going to actually take it. That's the tough part, because I've seen people go, they doubt themselves in taking care of others because they think it's a sign of weakness. It's not. That's the first sign when you know that you're getting ready to be a chef or a leader or anything in this industry. Because if we don't take care of others or ourselves in this industry, no one else will. So it's not about you proving your chef wrong that you're the best cook in the kitchen. Because you can be the best grill cook that works in the restaurant. But if you do not become a part of that team around you, where you're doing the best grill work and making sure sauté's good and you're helping others, even when they don't help themselves, even when the AM team doesn't prep anything for the PM team, and you're in there busting your ass, and you're like, hey, chef, I really need this. You know, some things are happening. I'm looking for a raise. I've got some other opportunities. Can you work with me? That's when you change the game for yourself and the people around you. It's not always about you. That's all. Cooking is a team sport, even though sometimes we forget that. As usual, I'm sure I might have missed something or went at it from an angle that you have a different viewpoint from. I'd love to hear your opinion. you know, hit that like button, hit that bell, so next time we upload a video, you get notified. You can follow us on Facebook, and you can see all the comments or all the articles we post. You can follow us on Instagram, so you can see all the swag that we throw up there that you can get on our store. And as always, I'm Chef JoJo. Until next time, cheers.